Part 36. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 356. Su Mu made a decisive alarm. There are many things to follow in this alarm, such as chat records with the host and Su's mother, such as Zheng Tao's birthday party, such as the monitoring of the KTV where the birthday party is located. Su Jiajia's body was also quickly found. She was humiliated to death, and there was hardly any intact place on her body. Especially the girl's lower body. Unrecognizable by the steel pipe, by the wine bottle, by many things, it even contained a lot of mess. Even the latter. When Mother Su saw the corpse, she cried and passed out. The 4 boys who insulted Su Jiajia were minors. The school even shielded the boys, saying that Su Jiajia was interacting with these boys, and that Su Jiajia was not in a proper manner at school. And the boys also produced a lot of evidence, saying that Su Jiajia volunteered to sign contracts with them to do that kind of thing for money. Said that Su Jiajia got in those things herself, she asked for the money, and she said no if she didn't give it. Sorrowful Su Jiajia. She listened to former class leader Zheng Tao saying that she had a bad style before. She heard her roommate Wang Xian said that she loved vanity in particular, and she was also dealing with many boys at the same time. She begged Wang Xian to cover her truancy. Mother Su kept crying, saying that her own girl would not be like this, but the school, classmates, and those contracts signed by the host were all in front of everyone. No matter what Mother Su said, no one would believe it. After all, many bears do not feel that their children have any problems, especially for single-parent families, where the mother spoils the child. Mother Su believed that her child would not do that kind of thing. She had never thought about this since the moment she saw her daughter's misery. No one believed her, she checked it herself. She sold her house, sold her own shop, and sold everything she could. She bumped into a wall every day in this unaccompanied place in Beijing. But even sometimes she was crying in the corner because she was not understood. Even in countless nights, she slammed her head against the wall and hated herself for not taking care of her daughter, but she was not beaten. Love and hate kept her going until the last minute. A police officer helped her to the end. The evidence was finally gathered, and the truth was finally revealed. But in the end, the court held several times and none of the boys who insulted Su Jiajia was sentenced to death. Because it is a minor. The mastermind, Wang Sheng, was sentenced to life indefinite, with a suspended sentence of 2 years. Mother Su did not expect to persist until the end, even if the law and everyone were on her side, but those people could not be severely punished in the end. Her appeal was rejected. Her lawyer, and everyone around her told her that this was the best result. But what is the good result? Her girl was so small, but she died in that way. Her daughter did not know how much pain she suffered before she died, but these beasts who should have died lived well. Even if the sentence is indefinite, there is still a probation. If the performance is good or there is a minor illness, the strength of the Wang family will immediately remove his son. After Su's appeal was upheld, the original sentence was upheld. She did not resume her appeal. She wandered on the road in Beijing, begging during the day, and lived under the overpasses or underground passages in Beijing at night. She bought a knife and carried it with her at all times. Those who killed her daughter could not be killed by law, and she killed herself. Let's take a look at the case of a girl from the New Oriental Foreign Language School in Beijing and the death and corpse death of 4 underages who insulted a female classmate 44 days later. The actual incident is actually worse than the novel. The novel is still beautiful filter. School will start soon, I hope everyone pays attention to safety. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 357. Those boys were in jail, so Mother Su first found Zheng Tao, the former class leader who had cheated her daughter. She couldn't kill anyone, she chopped the boy twice and couldn't do it anymore. The former squad leader Zheng Tao kept kneeling on the ground begging her. It was said that the boys threatened him not to do so, interrupted his leg, and in many ways made him poisoned and unable to continue school at this school. He came out of the cold door. He has been working hard to go to school, he does not want to ruin his future. And he said that the boys just said they wanted to meet Su Jiajia, and he thought that was the case. He never expected that those people would seduce Su Jiajia madly. He himself regrets every day and night. He cried and couldn't stop crying, and Mother Su cried with him. Su's mother was charged with intentional wounding and sentenced to prison. She died in prison before she was released. As soon as Su Mu died, Su Jiajia's grievances seemed to be about to dissipate. She has been with her mother for so long, and she has tried to comfort her mother every day. But she couldn't do anything, she could only watch weakly. Watching her mother couldn't sleep all night because of her affairs, watching her hitting the wall with her head again and again, watching her mother's black hair turn gray, and watching her mother seem to be in full swing in just a few months. Years switched to the time when the old man was dying. Watching her mother's vomiting blood. In the past, she was gentle and kind, and a mother who liked cleanliness and special self-esteem became a beggar that everyone was annoying. The host even forgot the pain before she died. She called her mother over and over again, and wanted to tell her mother, don't hate it anymore. She had nothing left, and she was left with her mother. The only thing she has left is her mother. She can't fight for anything. She doesn't want to kill her. She just wants her mother to be good and always good. But until her mother died, she couldn't talk to her mother. No matter how she shouted, her mother couldn't hear it. The host of the song is Su Jiajia. Su Jiajia's wish is also very simple. Those who insulted her will take her own revenge. And her favorite mother. She doesn't want her mother to be hurt a little bit. She wants to be the pride of her mother, not a knife that hurts her. The time to enter the plane is just right. It was just when the host promised Zheng Tao, the former squad leader, to the birthday party. The host had a girl who was a little hesitant, but roommate Wang Xian was also going to the birthday party. The two girls could just go together and go back together, which relieved the host's last bit of anxiety. I have to say that even though Wang Xian and Zheng Tao had various reasons for being forced, even they never thought about the host's death, but without their help for the tiger, the host would not die. Yanj is not the virgin, she will not help the host to forgive Wang Xian and Zheng Tao. Yan Song was like a host, and returned to the dormitory after a full day of class. This is a two-person dormitory, so there is only the host and Wang Xian in the dormitory. When Yanj went back, Wang Xian was wearing a newly bought pendant in the mirror. Seeing the Song coming in, he immediately smiled and dangled his pendant and asked the Song, Jia Jia, do you think this necklace looks good? I plan to wear it on Zheng Tao's birthday. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 358. Without waiting for the words to speak, Wang Xian immediately asked, yes, Jia Jia, what clothes are you going to wear by then? Yan Ji took the toiletries from the bed and returned, sportswear. Su Jia Jia's clothes are all sportswear suits. Wang Xian was stunned. This woman would stop in the dormitory. She would even wear sportswear to attend the banquet. This was going to happen, and she would be laughed to death. Wang Xian looked at the back of Yan Ji entering the bathroom, and the jealousy under his eyes could not be covered. She really didn't understand what a woman like Su Jiajia, who wasn't dressed up and didn't even clean the hair in her creeks, was so good that the prince of the royal family could spend so much thought on Su Jiajia. Thinking of the financial power of the Wang family, Wang Xian's heart was sour and bubbling. She felt that she was growing up well, and was praised by her relatives since she was a child. But she lived in a dormitory with Su Jiajia. Greenleaf. She had some gloating thoughts, such as Su Jiajia's temperament, it would be better to provoke Wang Das Hao, and then not get good. On the birthday of Zheng Tao, Wang Xian got up and dressed up early in the morning, but Yanj was lazy. Wang Xian urged several words. Yan Ji rubbed his eyes and got up, then called Zheng Tao, I don't want to go anymore, I want to go to the library to read a few books today. Zheng Tao didn't expect Yanj to refuse at such a time. He hesitated and said immediately, no, we have already made an appointment, Su Jiajia. The two of us in this school are both fellow and old classmates, and no one else come, it's okay, how can you not come, don't read old books, you have to be breathable. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Yanj, I still don't want to go, you also know my temperament, I don't like to be lively. Zheng Tao said quickly, where is it? It's just a few classmates together. There aren't many people at all. If you don't come, I have to break up at this birthday party. Yanj heard laughter, and the crisp laughter made Zheng Tao on the other side of the phone suddenly lost his mind. I still don't want to go, I'll hang up. After the song was finished, not only the phone was hung up, but the phone was also muted. Wang Xian heard it all the way, and she stared at the song in amazement, Jia, aren't you going? Yanj took the book and lay it back on his bed, and opened it, yeah, don't go. How can you not go? What if you don't go? As soon as Wang Xian said this, her cell phone rang. Wang Xian and Zheng Tao on the other side of the phone said a few words, and handed the phone to Yanj, it's Zheng Tao. He said that he won't answer your phone, he wants to talk to you. Yanj shook his head, I won't go, I won't answer the phone. Wang Xian stared at Yanj, and Yanj ignored her handing over her cell phone, always looking through books. Wang Xian had to say to Zheng Tao on the other side of the phone, she didn't answer the phone, I don't know what happened to her. Suddenly, I got up and called you, and then I couldn't say. Hanging up the phone, Wang Xian continued to persuade Yanj, she couldn't make a difference, after all, she was a classmate, how should she give face, and Yanj could not go, she would feel lonely without a partner. Yan Ji ignored this kind of words from her. No matter what Wang Xian said, she still said I won't go. Not long after Wang Xian's cell phone rang again, she looked at the electricity and took the cell phone to the bathroom. In the Lantern Festival, today I know that the Lantern Festival and the dumplings are not the same. The Lantern Festival can be fried and eaten. Damn, everyone in our dynasty is eating. By the way, I wish you a happy Lantern Festival. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 359. Although the memory of the host is fused, to be honest, these homework in high school are quite fickle, and the host's head is not genius, most of them are rote memorization, so it is not a big deal to study the song well. She had to study with 12 points of energy in order to secure the place where the host had previously ranked first in those 10,000 years. The chicken asked curiously, you have never asked my mighty one since entering this plane. Yanj, ask him what? Instead of struggling to explore the path of the mighty one, she might as well upgrade the system of the enthusiasts several times first, and get more information before thinking about the mighty one. The chicken was a little surprised, you don't want to know if there is a mighty person on this plane. Aren't you afraid that the guy who swallowed the heavenly beast suddenly came out? Yan Song, I don't want to. Chicken, oh. Although it was very stingy, it didn't speak anymore. Anyway, it felt that the wood should not be stinging for a long time and had to ask it. When Wang Xian answered the phone and came out of the bathroom, her gaze at Yan Ji was very complicated. There was jealousy and envy in the eyes, but more resentment. She pulled a chair and sat in front of Yanj's bed. She spoke softly and thoughtfully to the song, Jia, you're doing this wrong. You've already said good things, how can you make a difference, if we do want to stay there for too long, we can go back and come back. When you want to come back, how about I come back with you? Yan Ji's eyes finally moved from the place of the book to Wang Xian's face. She stared at Wang Xian's sincere face. I said I didn't want to go. Why do you keep urging me to go? You are so abnormal, it makes me wonder weird. What is it that urges you to go without you? I'm bored alone. Okay, Wang Xian rolled her eyes, but because of the words, she was guilty and her heart was pounding. I won't go, Yanj said. You feel bored and can go to your table with you, don't you have a good relationship with her? Before Wang Xian answered, Yan Ji took the toiletries and took a bath in the bathroom. When she came out of the bath, Wang Xian hadn't left. As soon as Wang Xian was about to speak, Yan Ji made a stop gesture to her. We are just roommates, and we are not good enough to wear a pair of pants. Do NT say that you want me to accompany you? You are not so in my heart important. Wang Xian. What a dregs-ridden woman she thought she was. Wang Xian was so angry that she turned her head and said nothing. She carried a bag and walked to the door. She turned her head and stared at the song. She said, Su Jia Jia, I can see you through. The door slammed in the next moment. In this case, the host will not care, and the song will not care. After all, like her host, her goal is to take a good university in the future and become the pride of Su's mother. Of course, Yanj has one more goal than the host, and that is to make those people all have a bad end. The system has not been upgraded. The chicken can't eat anything now, don't say anything, the power in the system space is cut off, and the space in the space is dark, and it can't see anything. Therefore, its recent days have been really difficult, and Yan Ji only wanted to learn, and he didn't even have time with him, making it more and more anxious in this darkness. So it didn't take long before the chickens couldn't hold it again. Wood, you can't cultivate in this plane, without force, you are a weak woman, how do you plan to kill those guys? After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 360. Yanj said, it doesn't have to be dead. Disabled or semi-disabled, such people are the most painful to live. It's also very difficult, said the cub. What are you going to do? Yanj, don't bother me, I'm reading a book. If you can help me with the problem, shut up if you can't. Chicken, it's like how difficult your question is. It glanced at it and wanted to talk about it. After all, it is such a 10-year-old monster, and the problem of high school students is difficult for it. However, after scanning the question that Yanj was looking at, the chicken was silent. It decided to continue to draw circles in the corners before being too lazy to talk nonsense with this wood. Wang Xian didn't return until the next morning. When she returned, Yan Ji just went to the playground and ran for 2 laps, and also just entered the door. She turned her head and saw Yanj enter the door, and happily asked a song with a chain on her hand, Jia Jia, do you think my bracelet looks good? Yan Ji narrowed his eyes, you can't appreciate it? Wang Xian made a cut, but continued to show off, such a small chain is more than 20,000 pieces. This year's latest. Before she said anything, she said, oh, and turned to the bathroom. There is no intention to talk to her at all. Wang Xian glared at Yan Ji's back and sneered, hunk. Although she despised Yanj very much in her heart, Wang Xian tried her best to please her and even tried to find a common language with Yanj. Yan Ji obviously did not think to give her a good look. Every time this guy came up, Yanj was impatient. One time, it was directly ironic to Wang Xian, how do you think that you and pugs like to walk around people? I can't buy you a brand name bracelet or a necklace, nor can I buy you a bag. It's hard to please me so much. Like me. After speaking the words, I looked at Wang Xian with a look of astonishment as if I had discovered some great secrets. I know that I look good, and many people like me, but I am narcissistic and think of you like this, I really don't have the right to like me, I urge you to dispel this idea as soon as possible. Wang Xian? She was so angry that Yan Ji was going to smoke above her head. You're kind of narcissistic. Don't worry, I won't like you even if I'm blind. Oh, since you don't like me, why do you always want to keep close to me? Wang Xian looked through the face with a disguised expression. I advise you to keep a distance with me in the future, otherwise I will take this thing. Tell the teacher to go. Wang Xian's nose almost crooked. Don't talk nonsense, I like men, I don't like you, you are neurotic, you are so narcissistic. Yan Ji narrowed his eyes. You don't like me, why do you want to please me? Obviously, I call my country guy in the back, but always look charming in front of me, but you talk about whether you are sick or me ill. Wang Xian's flushed face turned red and could not say a word. Yan Ji no longer cares about her, and lay back on the bed. Where did Wang Xian suffer such grievances? She really wanted to apply for a dormitory change right away, and people like Yan Ji were far away. It can be imagined that those of Wang Xiao ordered her, and all her indignation was suppressed again. She can't offend Wang Xiao. Fortunately, those people just let her try to trick Su Jiajia out of school and did not say that she must make good friends with Su Jiajia. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 361. Wang Xian didn't want to go on the line of girlfriends with Yanj again. Of course, she did not want to miss this opportunity. After all, the few were asking her every day how she was progressing, and she was increasingly dissatisfied with her words. She also wanted to study hard in this school, and was really unwilling to offend the most powerful Wang family in the school. This is a very popular movie ticket recently. I bought two, Jia. Let's go and watch it. It was my yesterday's speech that was bad for you. Our two are roommates. The roommates should take care of each other. In the future I'm staying here for more than 2 years, and I don't want us to be unhappy because of such a small thing. Wang Xian passed the ticket to Yanj sincerely. Jia, let's make up. Yan Ji didn't pick up the ticket. She was doing her homework at the desk. When Yan looked up and said to Wang Xian, I'm not interesting to you. If you entangle me like this again, I will tell the teacher about this. Wang Xian stared for a while before reacting to the meaning of the words, I don't like you. I treat you as a roommate. Can you not be so narcissistic? Yan Song rolled her eyes and ignored her. Naturally, Wang Xian's movie tickets could not be sent out anymore. She looked at Yan Ji's narcissistic pride and was so angry that she couldn't continue to communicate with this woman. But even if she was reborn, she had to continue to sing out the song. So the next day she would pretend that nothing had happened, and went on talking to Yanj. She used a lot of methods, going out to buy clothes together, or which restaurant's new dishes are delicious, and which big library in the city has activities. But whether she was seduced or spurred, all she received was her eyes. Gradually, Wang Xian was in the class. She liked Su Jiajia in her dormitory, and she always entangled Su Jiajia's words. Children in high school are at the forefront of the times. Not to mention lesbians, there are many gays, and many of them still have the same kind of temperament as men and women. This is not strange in circles. Although it's not strange, everyone will still give pointers and talk. Wang Xian likes Su Jiajia. Most people still believe it. If you blame Wang Xian's first line of girlfriends, it's too direct, but in contrast, Song's response to her love has become a kind of retrograde contrast. Wang Xian has a boyfriend. Her boyfriend is one of those who often mix with Wang Xiao. She didn't expect her good sexuality to be passed on like this in an instant. She knew it must be the words of the song. She has to sing songs to explain clearly to everyone. Yanj is too lazy to ignore her. Fortunately, her boyfriend didn't seem to believe this, and comforted her to quickly introduce Yanj to Wang Xiao. As long as Yanj and Wang Xiao had dragged on, such rumors would not be self-defeating. In fact, Wang Xian was extremely reluctant to match Yan Ji and Wang Xiao. After all, her relationship with Yanj today cannot be overstated. If Yanj and Wang Xiao are getting better, maybe they will run on her. But she couldn't refuse such a thing. Every time her mail ticket gave her a gift, she would say a song, and even Wang Xiao asked her a few times in person. Wang Xian had a self-knowledge, and she faintly felt that if she did not bring her words to Wang Xiao, all she had now would be lost. So even though she hated speech songs in her heart, she tried every means to deceive speech songs out of campus. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 362. To such a thick-skinned Wang Xian, Yan Ji ignored it. In fact, not only did Yanj hate Wang Xian, but Wang Xian herself also hated her hypocrisy that she didn't like Yanj now and desperately tried to brush her sense of existence. But she had no choice but to do so. Yanj pays great attention to what she eats and drinks in the dormitory. As long as she misses the snack, she will not eat again. I was afraid of the death of a roommate who poisoned him. After all, Wang Xian's state now seems to be crazy at any time. Zheng Tao also invited Yan Ji to climb the Great Wall together at the weekend. The Great Wall is the most famous in Beijing. The first thing many students from other places do during the weekend is to go to the Great Wall. Yan Ji refused directly, too tired, too lazy to move. Zheng Tao persisted in trying to persuade Yanj, who returned after a long rush, "Do you like me?" Zheng Tao froze for a moment, mainly because he didn't know how to answer. Su Jiajia is not only a Kaolin goddess, but also a competitor in Zheng Tao's heart. After all, he was always a second-year-old second child at school, and the first was always dominated by Su Jiajia. He did like Su Jiajia very much, but he was very jealous of his heart. When he heard the words, he couldn't help but think, could it be that Su Jiajia had never accepted anyone because he had been secretly in love with him? He had a lot of thoughts in his head, so he didn't respond to the words in the first place. Yanj didn't wait for him to answer, and immediately said, "But I'm sorry, I don't like you. I hope you will put more emphasis on your studies in the future and surpass me as soon as possible. Don't be a tens of thousands." Zheng Tao. All his thoughts were interrupted, and the word 2,000 years old was left in his mind. He was very sure and affirmed that when Su Jiajia just said this, he was still mocking. He hates most people saying that the 10-year-old second child said that he didn't expect Su Jiajia to think so, and he couldn't wait to find a hole in it at this moment. Zheng Tao, flushed, waited until Yan Ji left, and remained standing. He clenched his fists. His heart was really hateful and embarrassing. Wang Sheng, who was called Wang Xiao by these people, could not wait any longer. He actually brushed his face several times before Yanj himself. But I was blinded every time. Even if he was willing to laugh a few words, he had left before he could stop talking. He wanted to block the words in a place with few people. There are so many errands around him, someone always helps him pay attention to the whereabouts of Yanj. What made him speechless was that Yan Ji went to a crowded place, otherwise the cafeteria or the library. She never went to a place with few people. No girl has ever let Wang Sheng do this. Sending bags, sending money and gifts, each way hits the wall. His friends gave him ideas. There were quite a lot of medicines in the nightclub, and I got some last time. I should feed this woman, and I will not be obedient. Such things as women sometimes need to be strong. But there must be a chance to feed. He can't find such a chance now. Speaking of this, Wang Sheng suddenly thought of Su Jiajia's roommate Wang Xian. This woman took so many things and had such a good relationship with Su Jiajia, but as a result, Su Jiajia has not been taken out of school yet. That woman, Shouldn't it be yin feng yang? Wang Shen didn't bother talking to Wang Xian himself, he directly called Wang Xian's boyfriend. Wang Xian was scolded by her boyfriend. She never expected that she would be scolded by her boyfriend. In particular, her boyfriend was still on the phone asking if she had a leg with Su Jiajia, so she was unwilling to match Su Jiajia and Wang Sheng. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 363. No matter how Wang Xian explained, her boyfriend just didn't believe it, she even hung up her phone. After crying a lot, Wang Xian saw the entrance song and grinned at the bottom of her heart, but she still laughed. Jia, my boyfriend wants to invite you to have a meal with me. This Saturday, you will go with me when you get there. No, Yanj didn't even look at Wang Xian's swollen eyes. I'm not interested in you, and even less interested in your boyfriend. Wang Xian's reluctance to the limit during this period of time, seeing the cold look of Yan Ji, she finally couldn't help but broke out, and reached out and smashed the cosmetics on the table to the ground. Are you good enough? Where did I get you to mess with you? You are my roommate, and I want to make a good relationship with you, but what about you? What kind of attitude do you put away from your high-handed face? Look in the mirror and look at your own soil. Yan Ji looked at her screaming like a shrew. After the scolding, Wang Xian sat crying beside her bed. Yanj lay on his bed and played with a mobile phone. Wang Sheng had added the host friend before, but because Wang Sheng talked too yellow, and always talked to the host about how much money one night and so on, the host pulled him out before long. Yanj pulled Wang Sheng out of the blacklist. Allison, are you busy? Wang Sheng almost returned in seconds. Wang's Hishan, not busy. What's the matter, beauties? What can I do for you? Allison, I'm telling you a very shocking thing. Wang's Hishanzia, what is more shocking than you reject me? Jia, my roommate, she was crying madly, saying that I lost her, and women became more mad than men. King of Heaven, do you really have a leg with your roommate? Are you lace? Jia, my roommate recently tried every means to get me out of school with her. All kinds of flattering seduced me. I didn't know where I wanted to take me. Today I wanted to take me to see her boyfriend, and then suddenly became crazy crying and yelling. Wang's Hishan, it's not safe for you to live with her. Otherwise, if you leave school now, I'll open a room for you. You live first. Let the teacher change your dormitory tomorrow. Jia, thank you, but I didn't plan to change the dormitory. I want to see what new tricks she can have. It is also very interesting to watch her every day. Wang's Hishan, let's watch together. Wang Sheng sent a video to Yanj, but Yanj refused. Wang's Hishanzia, do you really plan to stay out for one night? This situation is dangerous for you now. Jia, thank you for your concern. When it's time, I'm going to mute the phone before going to bed. If I were killed by her in the middle of the night, you should call the police tomorrow. Half of the captive Wang Sheng didn't answer any phone calls or videos, so angry that he almost dropped his phone. He sent a conversation with Wang Jia to his friends. Everyone studied it carefully, and they all felt that the woman seemed to hang his appetite. This kind of woman clearly wants to be in her heart, but she has been holding on to it. Everyone is very disdainful about this. She devalued the woman in her words, and instructed Wang Sheng to finish it so that everyone can play. However, after waiting for many days, Yanj did not take the initiative to contact Wang Sheng, which made Wang Sheng's heart itch, and his anger was also chaos. He hates women most. Wang's Hishan, why haven't you talked recently? Murdered by your roommate. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 364. Jia, All my energy is focused on paying attention to my roommate. I'm tired and don't want to talk. The world of Wangji, if you don't worry, you should leave school. I will arrange a place for you. Jia, although I think my roommate wants to kill me all the time, I think she should not kill me. After all, I have more strength than her. Wang's Hishan, I feel bad for you and want to hug you. Jia, if I die in the future, you remember to testify at that time. They all say that you are a big brother. If you testify, she will be brought to justice. Wang's Hishan, I don't want to testify, I just want to hug you. Jia, I'm in the dormitory. You can't hold it? The dormitory doesn't allow boys to come in. Wang's Hishan, I climbed the window and came in. Allison, you will fall and die. King of the world, you must hug you before you fall. The chicken did not understand why Yanj wasted time with such a small animal / you don't want to seduce him and kill him in bed, right? It felt that it really looked like wood. Yanji heard a sneer and laughed, I am still a minor flower now, do you think I will hurt the enemy 1000 and damage 800? The chick thinks it will. There is nothing that this would dare not do. But he didn't dare to say this. After all, he had to give the wood a face instead of, what are you going to do? Yanji's voice was innocent, I didn't want to do anything, I just wanted to see what these people want to do. It's strange that the chicken believed this. Wang Xian's boyfriend hasn't talked to her much lately, and her boyfriend hooked up with a girl in the senior grade. She called her boyfriend. No matter what she said, her boyfriend always said, you get Su Jiajia's business first, let's talk about other things. But Wang Xian was so disgusted to see Yanj now that she couldn't even squeeze a smile in front of Yanj, and she wanted to leave where there was Yanj. This has formed a physiological aversion. Make her smile at Yanj as before, she can't do it at all. The two have been in the dormitory for a while and they have ignored each other, the state of the Cold War. But now, Wang Xian can't continue the Cold War. She wants to recover her boyfriend, so she must solve the stumbling block of Su Jiajia. She was worried about what reason she spoke to Yanj at night. Yanji, who was watching the phone, suddenly looked up and asked her with a serious face, Wang Xian, will you kill me? Wang Xian? Although the heart was anxious that the woman had died a million times before, the word kill hadn't really appeared in Wang Xian's mind. However, when Yanj asked such a thing, Wang Xian's heart suddenly became agitated. She felt that sometimes she really wanted to kill this kind of unloved woman who likes to wear white lotus. Yanj didn't wait for Wang Xian to reply, so he read the news on his mobile phone. A boy in the dormitory cast paraquat in the water dispenser because he was jealous of his roommate. He studied better. Oh, there is a message below, saying the girl is jealous that her roommate has always been better than her, so she cast a puppet in her roommate's toiletries, which caused a lot of damage to her roommate's body. Although she was rescued, her memory has fallen back to 7 years, and she changed from a beautiful beauty to a fat poor girl with squinting eyes and no self-care ability. Oh, this poisoned roommate has not been sentenced because of insufficient evidence. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 365. After finishing the numerous examples below, Yan Ji looked up at Wang Xian, when you look at me, you always have a gut-hushing gaze. Wouldn't you also want to poison me? I'm really scared to think about it. Yan Ji sighed, I'm not dead yet, do you still want to thank you for your kindness? Wang Xian thought that Yanj was really a very funny joke, but she couldn't laugh out loud. She felt that even the flesh on her face seemed to be convulsing, and her expression was a little out of control. She opened her mouth to talk, but made a few hee-hee laughs. Yanj continued, I look so beautiful and study so well. Look at you. You can't hold back my jealousy. I'm really curious. How do you usually regulate your emotions? These wary killers should all learn from you. She squinted Wang Xian and smiled, "It's born to look unpretty, but it's a problem in your mind if you don't study well. If you don't look good, and you don't study well, you should be holding your tail like you, not massacre." Wang Xian stared at the words with a surly expression. The face seemed to become countless in her mind, each of them mocking her. She wanted to reply, but she was so angry that her whole body was shaking, and her throat seemed to be blocked by something, so she couldn't say a word. "Yeah," Yan Ji sighed again and gave Wang Xian a sideways glance, "if you feel frustrated living with the beautiful and smart me, just tell the teacher to change the dormitory early, but don't forget to take the wrong way." "You can rest assured," Wang Xian finally spoke, and her voice was a bit sharp because of her anger, "even if you go on a crooked road, I won't. Don't take yourself as well as you think, you are a terrible person in the eyes of others." The song giggled, and the brow was full of self-confidence and pride. "I know myself very well, and I will never lose myself because of other people's jealous words." Wang Xian's persecution from the beginning to anger, and gradually later, her brain began to function normally, and she wanted to organize speech to refute speech songs. But the song has ignored her. Yan Ji is talking to Su Su by voice, talking about her interesting things in school, talking about questions that everyone in the class can't answer, and being proud of being answered by her alone. Wang Xian was gritting her teeth while listening. Although the words were all about the facts, they were rather harsh in Wang Xian's ears. She always felt that Yanj was showing off to her. Is there anything to show off? A fellow countryman, isn't it that he thinks his grades are great? To survive in this society, good grades have a fart, and a good father and mother are the most important. Just like Wang Shen, father and mother have power, so he has been the proud of heaven since childhood. Wang Xian suddenly felt that Su Jiajia had nothing to do with Wang Shen now. If you are with Wang Shen in the future, you still don't know how to ridicule her in the dormitory, maybe she will also suppress her in front of Wang Shen's crowd. This problem made Wang Xian very upset and depressed. This night, Wang Xian didn't sleep well. She had many dreams. Although these dreams were intermittent, in the dreams, she killed Su Jiajia. Kill Su Jiajia. When Su Jiajia died, she begged her. Su Jiajia died very miserably, her proud beautiful face was gone, her smart mind was gone, and Su Jiajia, who died, finally shut up.